we've had our first hate comment.
I wouldn't call it a hate comment.
It wasn't a love comment.
No, true. We had several bits of feedback. It's the price of fame.
It is, yeah. You got to have a thick skin in this game.
You do, yeah.
It's gone now, the comment, but it said absolute morons.
Wow.
I assume his mum told him that's not very nice. You should take that down.
Or our mum told him.
It's possible.
I'm happy someone else called us deluded. And I think part of being a football fan is being deluded a bit. But, I don't mind being called deluded. No. I think saying that we have a better team than what we've seen from this team in the first few months of the season is maybe
not
a bit
asking for much.
But it's not the most deluded thing in the world. But I don't think we're morons.
No, I think that's harsh.
Yeah.
But I suppose the nature of these things is you're more like an opposition fan is more likely to comment calling us morons than a United fan is to comment saying I agree.
Yeah, but also I think a lot of United fans
wouldn't agree.
They don't agree on a lot of United fans.
Yeah, true.
As we've seen this week, I don't think you're any less likely to get a dissenting view from a United fan than an opposition fan.
To be fair, the guy who called us morons could well have been a United fan.
Yeah.
For all we know.
It's there's always been a very divided fan base, and I don't think that's going to change. I don't think it's going to change anytime soon.
No, probably not. But it's good that we're getting the comments.
Yeah,
any exposure is good. At least it's getting on people's pages.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Stay tuned on the old social media. It's been a while. The first 2 clips we did were both from the same episode.
Like episode 3.
Yeah. So I've got to keep that up.
Yeah.
2026.
With we're not going to have as many episodes to make the season as we thought we might.
No.
Is it a good? I know it's not a good thing for the club, but is it a good thing for the pod that we've got? It's a more manageable number of episodes.
Yeah.
Those seasons a couple of years ago, we played 60 odd games.
Yeah, when we were getting far in the Europa League and at least one of the cups. Yeah. That's a lot of games.
They're nice, manageable 40.
Yeah, we're doing 1 episode a week, so maybe 1 game a week is very helpful. I'm sure the radio broadcasts in 1914 were appreciative of the fact that we didn't play many games that season.
Although I was reading about that season, the 1914-15 season. So it was a full season. Didn't end it early for any reason.
There's one reason they would have ended it early.
United came 18th in the league, pretty poor.
Was that the first division?
The first division, and there was a match-fixing scandal in which United played Liverpool and won 2-0, and 5 United players and 4 Liverpool players had bet on the outcome of the result, and all got banned for it.
Wow.
So but that was we played 38 league games and we went out in the first round of the cup, and there was only 1 cup in those days. So that's the previous record low.
Yeah,
that is the record low in terms of an actual league season.
I am sort of surprised that it's not happened since then, where we've just played the regular league season and lost 1 game in each of the cups.
Well, there was a good period in the middle where you played more than 40 league games.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have happened in one of those seasons, even if we went out of both cups.
Yeah, I suppose, but it probably is more manageable for us. I don't want it to continue long term.
No.
I would have liked us, because with the FA Cup, the league games stay where they are. So this means
you've just got
we
time
just have
off.
Weekends with no game, which is not what you want. I think there is a period where it's FA Cup weekend on one side of the international break.
Yeah.
So
we can have a month without a game.
Yeah. We'll have
mental.
To do a sort of deep dive on something on the pod.
Deep dive into the Irwell River.
Yeah. Hello, welcome back to Red Army Reaction.
Hello.
Another gloomy Monday night following United.
Yeah, the looks like the Fletcher era is coming to an end.
Yeah.
Never really got going.
No.
And much like the Amorim era.
Yeah.
Initial promise.
A microcosm, really.
Yeah, failed to deliver, but with different problems, but also the same problems.
Yeah. It's over as soon as it's begun, really.
Yeah.
And I don't think we'll look back on it, really, generally.
No, unless we're on a sort of pointless. That might come up then.
Well, people to manage the United game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be better answers there than Fletcher.
Well, Hildrich.
Yeah.
That's he was the first person to take charge of a game, having played for United.
Nice.
So I'll be using him if we go on pointless.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were at the game yesterday.
We were.
We weren't at the game in Burnley.
No, we were here. We
yes.
watched it basically like this.
We did, without the microphones.
No, that would be weird. Well, maybe one day we could do a
no,
live stream.
I couldn't do. I thought this after the game yesterday, and I've thought about watch-alongs before. I just wouldn't be able to be professional and
entertaining.
Yeah. I was in a foul mood after we lost yesterday.
Yeah.
And even now, I'm not in a great mood about it, but I could talk about it with some distance. But if I had to talk about a game immediately after it, I wouldn't be able to do it, really. I would just be miserable.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if we win, then great, but we don't win very often.
Do you think that people who do them are... I mean, I know the answer. It's a bit of both, which is the cliched answer. But is it because they're more professional broadcasters than we are, or they don't care as much as we do?
I think probably doing that, you have to become more professional.
Yeah.
And that makes you care less.
Yeah, you have to compartmentalize, I suppose.
Yeah. Or make you seem like you care less because you have to hold in your emotions at times in order to be entertaining. But
also, a lot of my time online is spent laughing at other fans of other clubs doing those when they lose.
And they're not keeping hold of their emotions.
Yeah. So we don't want to be that sort of content.
And not keeping hold of your emotions is great when you're winning.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to be just ranting about United and angry at the team.
No.
Not that I get angry anyway. I just get sad. So I get frustrated during the game and then sad afterwards. And neither of them I don't think I would want to broadcast.
Yeah. It's more... I think when you are competing for trophies, there is more anger, whereas now it's more just sort of acceptance and realization. And you think about it more in terms of the state of the club after a loss, rather than if you're in a title fight and you're more frustrated that you couldn't do it. Whereas the loss yesterday, we probably weren't going to win the FA Cup. It's just upsetting that it was further evidence that we're rubbish.
Yeah, and a lot of some of my apathy towards United this season went away and was replaced by some hopefulness when Amorim was sacked and we got Fletcher in for 2 games. And most of it has come back after those 2 games, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll
go again when we swap managers again.
If we win a game, maybe. I might feel a bit better. But when was it was Boxing Day last time we won a game, wasn't it?
Yeah, Newcastle. Yeah.
I mean, I know we've not played that many since then, but
no, we don't.
We have played Wolves, Leeds and Burnley.
Yes.
So
you would hope that there would have been another couple of points
win
on the board.
in there, yeah. We should probably talk about the 2 games.
Yeah.
We'll start with Burnley.
Yeah, I think an encouraging performance, probly.
Yeah,
in isolation.
I think so on the whole.
I don't know if it can be encouraging in isolation because that means that it's you taking it in the context of the other games.
Yeah.
There was stuff there to enjoy.
Yeah.
Good moments. The theme of this season has been we are too easy to score against.
Yeah.
And until whoever the manager is puts that as the focus and stops that being true, we won't. It's not that we won't win the league. We won't win 5 games. If we can't do that, we're way too easy to score goals against. And that was very true in the Burnley game.
And we're not a team like, Liverpool under Rodgers or Kevin Keegan's Newcastle, where you win 4-3 all the time. It's always so entertaining. You might concede a few, but you're always going to score a few. We don't always score a few.
Sometimes we score at most 2 if we're very lucky.
And we concede at least 1. So we're not going to win many
games.
No
wonder why we're not the most prolific team in the world.
Yeah, I think this isn't true of a lot of the games we've drawn this season, because it seems like we've drawn a lot of games. We were unlucky not to beat Burnley.
Yeah, I think when you tot it all up, a disallowed goal that was very soft, a really unlucky own goal, 2 clearances off the line, hitting the bar, and they scored a very good goal that involved some poor defending, but in terms of they had 1 shot on target all
in terms
game.
of the balance of play.
Yeah, you can definitely, and like we've said, if that was the result in the middle of a winning run, then you think, God, that was a frustrating evening, but we'll move on.
Go again in the next game.
But we really need to win some games.
Yeah,
at
the
some
ones
point.
where we play well, we need to win them.
Yeah. Fletcher reverted to a back 4, as everyone knew he would.
He was always going to do that. There was similar failings in the team. Like, it's not like we still conceded the same number of goals as we would have done under Amorim, probably.
Yeah.
The game probably could have gone very similarly. If you look at games like Forest away, that was a similar game.
Yeah.
Spurs are not that much better than Burnley or Forest, so you can lump that in there as well. Similar game where we played quite well for a lot of the game, but we never take the charge of the game and put it out of sight. And when we concede so many goals, the other team is always in the game.
Yeah. The scoreline doesn't tell you that much about the state of the game. You could easily have a 2-2 draw where you are massively on top the whole game and concede 2 unlucky goals. Even, we did concede 2 unlucky goals, but there was still too much going for Burnley. There was too much. We didn't control the game.
No.
And obviously Fletcher's only had a day to try and play that system.
Yeah.
And you would hope now that we can. We've said this along the way with Amorim, and this is one of the reasons why people have lost patience with him, is we're playing so few games. You should be able to see real tactical evolution one week to the next, real ideas born out on the grass. Yeah. And obviously you're not going to see that in one day from Fletcher, but you would hope next manager, week after week, you can see them identifying the problems in the team and trying to resolve them, rather than just trying to do the same thing and trying to see if it'll work this week.
Yeah.
So we didn't see that against Burnley. We didn't see that against Brighton. They haven't had much time to train. But it would feel better just knowing that the manager agreed on what the problems were and looked to be making an effort to resolve them. Even if, we weren't winning games, if the manager is aware of what the issues are and is looking to try and fix them by changing things, that's one of the things that can make you believe in a project, rather than just keep trying the same thing, expecting different results.
Yeah. There were definitely positives to take from the game against Burnley. Look at Sesko.
Yeah.
He scored 2. He had more shots on target than anyone's had in a Premier League game this season.
Yeah. So, after quite a poor first half as well.
Yeah. But we were creating chances for him the whole game, which is good. And he scored 2. So, clearly he all strikers need service to a degree. And when you're not getting service, you're not scoring goals, your confidence is going to go.
Yeah.
But I think it was really good for him that game. And it's a shame that we didn't win it, given his contribution in the second half, to get those 2 goals, which is as many as he scored before that.
Yeah.
It would have been nice for us to actually win the game, but it's definitely a positive because we'll need him.
Yeah. I think what did for Højlund and what has done for Sesko so far that we will now see change is there was absolutely no emphasis on trying to pass the ball to the centre forward.
Yeah.
Like that was Bruno every time he got the ball on Wednesday. He looked up and tried to pass the ball to centre forward. And Sesko's movement wasn't quite in sync with him for the first half. He kept coming to feet. He kept turning face up to defenders. Bruno kept telling him, if I get the ball, I'm going to try and pass to you, make runs. And second half he did, and it worked. And there was a couple of others that he didn't get the ball for, a couple of others on Sunday that he didn't get the ball, where he's making these runs. And it's all about building those relationships and building the sort of the expectation that Bruno picks up the ball, Martinez picks up the ball, or Cunha picks up the ball, make the run, even if you don't get the ball.
You won't get it every time,
but if you keep making that run and they can reliably expect you to be there, then it gives them such a good option. And we saw it work in the second half against Burnley. Like it didn't take that long to start to click.
Yeah.
He then scored again on, it was a corner, but he scored again on Sunday. Hopefully we can see him build a bit of confidence, and if he can keep receiving the ball, he will score goals. He's a good enough striker to do that.
Yeah. Because with him and Højlund, when you're not getting the service and you feel like your runs aren't getting seen, you are going to drop deep and try and get some touches on the ball. And then it takes time to sort of correct that, and there are going to be crosses that go in where he's not there.
Yeah.
But if that happens long enough and you can manage to convince him that
we are now
going to create chances for you, so you better be there, then hopefully he'll be able to score a few goals in the second half of the season.
Yeah. Something I saw brought up about Sesko, which, he's had 2 good games. I don't want to, but there's still an opportunity for him to improve, is his priority seems to be, when he takes a shot, is not missing too badly.
Yeah.
So we saw a couple on Sunday where he takes a nice touch and takes a controlled shot that basically just goes straight down the middle.
Yeah.
And the keeper saves it. And if you're optimizing for stats, that's a shot on target. That's a good chance that, a chance that you've taken well and converted into a shot. And if you try and leather it and miss, then it might look worse on the card, but it might be more likely to go in.
Yeah.
Something that I think he needs to sort of training out of that mindset of, well, at least I didn't miss.
Yeah.
At least I got it on target. Because sometimes trying just to get it on target makes it a worse shot than if you aim for the top corner and miss. It's more likely to go in.
Yeah. But you should always go for the option that's more likely to go in as a striker. And not to blame Amorim for everything, but that mindset is similar to how Amorim coached the team.
Yeah, at least we didn't lose.
Trying not to lose rather than trying to win.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be embarrassed by a draw, but
no.
If you try and win, you might lose the game. So we'll just stick here.
Yeah, there was too many of those, and that's again that frustration that bred frustration in the fans as well, because for them the difference between a draw and a loss, for the manager the difference between a draw and a win may not be as much because you're judged on losing and you get sacked if you lose too many games. But for a fan, the difference between a draw and a loss is much smaller.
Yeah. Well, especially when you're playing teams like Wolves, West Ham.
Yeah.
A loss is as bad as a draw is as bad as a loss in some ways.
Yeah, and we saw both of those. We saw runs. The most recent run from Amorim was 1 loss in 14 games or something, but 2 wins in that time.
Yeah.
Or 3 wins. Where if you lose a couple more of those, but you go all out to try and win some, then you probably end up with more points.
Yeah.
It's the mathematics works out that it's worth taking the risk. And being Manchester United manager, we're built on that.
Yeah.
Proactivity and trying to take the game to the opponents.
Yeah. I do always find it weird when managers' records are cited. It's always win percentage and not points per game. Surely points per game tells you a lot more because win percentage doesn't
include draws.
Yeah. It says whether you won or not. But
yeah, I think it is odd. It works better for all competitions stats, win percentage.
But do they
do league all competition league win percentage, I suppose?
And all competitions surely counts like extra time and penalties as a draw.
Yeah.
So that looks bad.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. That's a good point you've raised there.
Well,
when we fix football broadcasting forever, we'll put that on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were unlucky to not beat Burnley. The own goal was difficult to take. We've seen Heaven is a player a lot of fans like and can see a lot of upside there, and he's been in decent form. He's had some good games, but he does seem to have a bit of an unlucky streak at the moment. The mistake against Leeds, which we then we were punished for and didn't get the result as a result. The mistake here was probably going with his other leg and not, it's just got his body shape wrong.
But I don't think you can be too harsh on him for that because...
No, and he was dragged out of position because he had to cover a run that no one else had covered, which, it's a defender's job, but it means someone else hasn't done their job, in this case, Casemiro.
Yeah.
So you can't blame him too much. It's unlucky that it's gone in off his thigh, but I don't think it's too much the player's fault.
Yeah. And I hope he obviously didn't play the game against Brighton. I hope he's all right. I hope it's not knocked him too much because that's 2 games in a row. We've not won the game and he's been at fault for one of their goals.
Yeah.
But, he's young and every young player makes mistakes. And if he's got the right mentality, which he seems to, then
I wouldn't worry about him too much. Although it is again, the thing we've talked about quite a lot this season is I think players in our squad, and this is true of maybe the last 10 years, players having clear, identifiable weaknesses. And, Manchester United should have a system in place where they can look at Yoro and look at Heaven and Šeško and Dorgu and say, what's holding them back?
Yeah.
Šeško, his shot placement is too cautious. Yoro, his when he often changes of direction or changes of pace from attackers can wrong foot him and he can get caught out. Heaven's body positioning isn't great. Dorgu, I think he goes down too easily, buys fouls rather than trying to use his physicality in more advantageous ways. These are identifiable weaknesses, and even if I've misidentified them, I think doesn't seem to be a system in place that can say, Heaven 6 weeks, we'll get a top centre half coach in.
Yeah.
I think we've got the resources for it. We've probably got access to, I'm not saying get Yap Stam in to do it, but we should have the network available to say, spend 6 weeks, fix that specific problem that is holding you back, and you'll be a much better defender for the rest of your career. But it seems to just be, well, he'll get better as a function of playing more games, and he'll learn to not do the things that, Lammens, his positioning is setting himself for shots, has cost us goals this season. Long-range goals that he doesn't save for as well as a keeper of his standing should be able to, because he has a quirk in his game that someone should be able to identify and fix. And 6 weeks of work could make him 10% better as a goalie.
Yeah,
that should be a thing that happens at United, and I don't know if it is. It doesn't seem to be a thing.
No, it seems to be that we look at the positive. If we're scouting a player, we say, oh, they're good at these 5 things. There's weaknesses here and here, but that's all right. They're clearly good at something, so we'll play them and they'll get better. We won't worry about the weaknesses.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll go in time, but you have to actually specifically target them.
Yeah, especially if you've got this policy of signing young players.
Yeah,
they need refining and they need specific coaching to fix errors that they have.
They're all going to have weaknesses when you sign a player who's 18, 19.
Yeah, I don't think it's intrinsic to who they are as a player. I think it can be coached out of them, but someone needs to spot it and make that a priority to fix.
Yeah, because like we've said, you can't just sign a whole squad of players who are already good enough and don't have any weaknesses.
No, and you want to see players improve.
Yeah.
You want to see, because it's the case
grow at the club.
Yeah, it's the case for academy players as well. They can have real strengths, but key weaknesses can hold them back, and if you can eradicate them from their game, you can massively improve them as a player.
Yeah. We'll pivot to the Brighton game, which was
fewer positives to take.
We were less unlucky. I don't think we were unlucky to lose the game.
No.
There were much fewer positive signs. It was just sort of flat from minute one, really. The ground,
it never got going.
The atmosphere was quite flat. It was quite sort of negative, which is a product of how bad we've been for so long.
And the weather.
People go into the game expecting us to be bad, and then when we confirm their suspicions that we are bad by misplacing a few passes, people just revert to the state of just being annoyed at the team and not liking them.
Yeah, I do think there's a job there to be done for a United manager that we haven't. I mean, we saw a bit under Ollie. Amorim maybe had it a bit, but Old Trafford is... I'm not going to say Old Trafford's a problem, but Old Trafford is such a... It's sort of a bit bipolar, Old Trafford, in that it can be really helpful, the Old Trafford crowd, the noise, the number of people, it's unlike any environment that these players play in, the away players play in, they play in the stadiums nowhere near their size most of the time. Yeah. Just, as a function of it being much bigger than everywhere else.
Arsenal, City and Liverpool might play Real Madrid or Barcelona once every couple of seasons.
But
week in, week out, they're playing against much smaller crowds.
Yeah, and it's a massive asset in some of those games, but especially when the mood's low, generally, when we've had a rough few months, that it can really drain the team, I think. And I think yesterday, there were some occasions where we got a little bit of momentum, and then one thing goes wrong, and it's just, never mind. It's done. And, we had that chance 2 minutes in, Dallo, wasted that chance early on. And I thought, we might be on it. Everyone was buoyed by that.
Good start.
But then 5 minutes go by, everyone, loses energy. And, it's not I'm not blaming individual fans here. I'm saying that one thing that a manager needs to address is the belief in the Old Trafford crowd. And if you can have that belief at 0-0 and have that belief at 1-0 down and 2-0 down, rather than just having it 5 minutes to go when you're within a goal, when it becomes really useful. But you can have that belief the whole way through if the mood in the team and the mood around the club is right. And that's something for people higher up at the club as well. We've had a pretty dire 18 months where we've had basically no good news out of the club that whole time since the takeover. And I'm not blaming... And maybe I'm too quick to defend the new owners, but I'm also not blaming the new owners for some of the decisions they've had to make. But they're not good news decisions.
Yeah.
Even if you think maybe they're justifiable from a business sense, they're still bad. They're still,
not going to make the fans happy.
No. So there needs to... And that might be why they're keen to go for an ex-player for a few months. Because you've got that baked in sort of appreciation for them and belief that, we all already like Michael Carrick. So we don't need to get that buy-in. He can say a couple of nice things in a press conference, and we had a lot of it. We had a lot of it from Fletcher last week. I'm sure they won't reach. I'm sure they won't say, "Have you also called Fergie this week?"
Well, he will. I bet he will. I bet he said, I can't make any big decisions without calling Fergie. Must be exhausting, Fergie. He's 80 odd. He wants to retire. Just gets a call every 5 minutes from a former United player.
But that's something that really needs addressing, is getting some buoyancy back in Old Trafford, because it can really help, and we could go on a, it's difficult to go on a run when you play once every 2 weeks at Old Trafford, but we can build some momentum and get some, positivity going into next season.
Yeah. Well, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, really, because we don't win games, and we're going into games not expecting to win. If we win a couple of games, that'll, even if fans are annoyed at 0-0 or like getting frustrated with the side, if we win the game, they'll be a lot happier, and in the next game they'll go into it more positively.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not. I'm not blaming the Old Trafford for this. I think it's a function of how poor the team's been for so long. But I don't think we can wait until we're the best team in the world again.
No.
For Old Trafford to be the best stadium in the world again. I think
something we need to work on together.
We need to, yeah.
And with the new stadium being planned, if we don't get any better, then they can consider all these things and make these decisions in the construction of the stadium to accentuate the atmosphere. But if we don't win any games, it's not going to be a great place to go.
It's got to be a collaborative process, like you say, and I think they are probably aware of it as a club, but also I don't think there's any quick wins. The new Stretford End lower tier is a nice idea, and it looks impressive, and they are loud, and they are, but they're just as temperamental as other fans, and they are just as liable to lose faith, and they're also very annoyed at the club at the moment. Even though the club are making these initiatives, they've got plenty of reasons to not like the club. Lots of fans being moved out of their seats and stuff. Yeah. So hopefully some more of those initiatives and some more goodwill. Once, we should have a bit of headroom. Once making all these cuts, we should have a bit of headroom to do some goodwill gestures and put some money back into the foundation. And, we had we had Scholes and Nicky Butt were in the director's box because they've been complaining about how they can't get any tickets to the games. And United came out and were like, you can always come and sit in the director's box.
Yeah.
Like, it's not an issue. Hopefully we can, and the media as well has a role to play in this, and this is becoming quite a rambling point, but I feel like an effort from former United players in the commentariat to lift the mood could go a long way as well. They are very negative about the club all the time.
Yeah, and there's plenty to be negative about, but it seems like they've given up, and they're negative about United as if that's their job, is to criticise United and not to analyse United. And they should analyse it from a supporter's point of view and an ex-player's point of view, which they just seem to focus on the fact that when they played, United were really good, and now they're not really good. I
don't think anyone would look at not Carrick's, I've done that 4 times. I don't think anyone would look at Carragher's commentary of Liverpool or analysis of Liverpool and say that it's, you can tell he's a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
And I don't think that makes it better or worse. I think it's a separate thing. You can tell he's a Liverpool fan. He analyses them quite honestly. He's probably a little bit lenient with some of the players, but because he knows them. But his being a fan is separate to his analysis of football.
Yeah.
Whereas the fact that they used to play for United seems to colour everything that United pundits do.
Yeah.
Every decision is compared to when they were a player. Every game is compared to when they were a player, and every player is compared to the players who played when they were there.
Yeah.
And you don't hear about the players who, other than Gerrard, you don't really hear about the players who played with Carragher.
No, he uses examples when they're relevant. Like when this manager came in and he tried to get us to play this way and we didn't respond well to that or whatever. But it's not, and it's different with Liverpool because United had the dynasty of Ferguson, and everything is compared to when Ferguson was the manager, whereas Liverpool, throughout that same period, had a lot of different managers and had periods of success and periods of failure.
Yeah.
So it's probably easier, but I do get very tired of the ex-United players just criticising us all the time, and it seems like they don't.
Yeah.
They care about the club, but it just seems like they love to hate the club, which is.
And then when anyone points it out, United are bad because of us, are they? Well, United are bad because we're not nice to them.
If you're playing for Man United, you should be able to handle some criticism,
But obviously your words carry weight because you are a legend of the club. And
the fans, love you and will listen to what you say and believe it.
But then, they make a decision like they're going to and hire Michael Carrick, and then there's also, it's just a PR move to get the pressure off the owners, and they're just doing it because the ex-players won't criticise them if Carrick's there, which didn't happen under Ollie. The ex-players were still quite critical of the club under Ollie. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I think we started to talk about the Brighton game, and
we've comprehensively analysed the Brighton game there, I think.
But it was an okay start. We started okay, but when you don't get a goal, and Brighton are a good team, and they are a reactive team, and they can adapt to how teams are going to play against them. They're an intelligent group of players. They nullified most of the things we tried to do, really.
Yeah, and all of our games sort of ebb and flow. There aren't anywhere we're dominant for 90 minutes.
No.
But there also aren't many where the other team is dominant for 90 minutes.
No.
But when we don't score in the bit where we're on top, they will score in the bit where they're on top. So
yeah, absolutely.
You're not going to win many games if they score, not every time they attack, but they're always going to score goals. So when we don't take our chances, then we're in trouble, really. And that's how it went yesterday. It took us... We didn't create a lot of clear-cut chances, but neither did they. Yeah. But they scored, and we didn't, because I don't know what it is specifically about our defence. I'll concede the fact that I've not watched their goals back, which I often do before we record this. I don't really know what happened with the first Brighton goal. Forgive me, but I didn't fancy watching it back.
It was an odd one. The ball comes in, Martinez sort of leaves his man to stand on the line, and again, it's sort of, when you take it in isolation, he blocks the first shot and then can't really do anything about the second shot.
Yeah.
But he would have been much better served trying to block the cross and stop, or trying to block the shot much closer to the first man. Right? Blocking it on the line, you can't then affect what happens after that.
Yeah.
Unless they put it straight back where it came from. They're at the advantage. Whereas if you can block much closer to the player, then the ball, you're still active in the game and you're still able to control the next phase of play. So Martinez's decision making there was quite odd.
Yeah.
But like you say, we don't concede a lot of chances. We concede quite good chances when we do, though, and opposition teams just seem more clinical against us.
Yeah.
Especially when they've got Danny Welbeck up front.
Yeah. It was a well-taken goal from Danny Welbeck.
A really well-taken goal.
Yeah. The kind of chance that, I don't want to get on his back, but Sesko gets those kind of chances and doesn't score them, I would say. Hopefully he will learn to do that. Maybe if we had another striker at the club, someone with experience, like Danny Welbeck, he might have someone to learn off, but he did well for that goal.
He did, yeah.
It's not a sign that we shouldn't have let him go.
Yeah.
It's not fair to say that when we let him go, he's a different player.
Yes.
And Van Gaal didn't fancy him.
Yeah, there is something to be said for McTominay leaving and then big being the player of the year in Serie A the year later, and being like, there's a bit of regret there. But not that he was ever going to be the Premier League player of the year, but it's a different environment. It's clearly benefited, but it's a very different thing to a player who left 10 years ago.
Yeah, and he's always been a useful player, but only this season really has he started scoring goals reliably.
Yeah.
I don't know what his average is since he left United. It's probably less than 10 goals a season, certainly in the league. So it does not. People love to say this about United. It doesn't mean we should have let him go. Højlund scoring a couple more goals in Serie A than he did in the Premier League doesn't mean we shouldn't have let him go.
No, and also, it's about the player's circumstances as well. Danny Welbeck left because we didn't sell him. We couldn't have kept him. He wanted to play more. He left because he wasn't going to be the first team striker at Manchester United.
Yeah.
And not being the first team striker at Manchester United, so many things change throughout a player's career. Maybe now he would be a useful option in the squad on his wages that he's on at Brighton for a fee that Brighton paid for him.
And with the experience that he's got in the last 10 years.
Yeah. If he'd stayed at United this whole time, he wouldn't be that player. He would have played for a rubbish United side the whole time. He would want to be on a lot more wages because players want a new contract every 2 years with a pay rise. And we give it to them. He would also have wanted to play a lot more football over that period than he probably would have done.
Yeah.
And it would have benefited from playing because he's moved clubs. Yeah. You can't compare the two.
If we didn't let him go when we did, we probably would have let him go a couple of seasons later. At some point, it would have been the right decision, just like it probably was at the time. Yeah,
and I think it's a bit short-sighted or reductive to compare the situations. I saw someone comparing it to Alvaro Carreras, who that is obviously a situation that should have gone differently. Loaning him out and loaning in a player to play 12 games, or not playing him. To loan in a player to play 12 games who now doesn't have a club and paying money for that player and then letting him go for really cheap. And then he signs for 50 million to be the right back for one of the best teams in the world.
Whilst we had a buyback clause for much less than that.
Yeah, to be left back, sorry. And a position we've needed, and then we sign a young left back instead. Obviously, that is a very different situation to a striker who left 10 years ago and has had a nice career coming back and scoring against you.
Yeah.
You can't really... It's a bit reductive to compare the two, as all players who leave United should never have left United, and all players who stay at United should have been sold.
Yeah. And he scores a disproportionate number of goals against United.
Yeah.
He seems to always score. Statistically, apparently he scores 1 in 2 against us, but I can't remember the ones where he hasn't scored against us.
Yeah, he's on a good run. He also scores... I think he scores against us about once every season. Pretty much on
and
average.
It's always at Old Trafford.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever scored an home goal against United.
Yeah.
I remember the first one he scored against us after he left, which was FA Cup quarter-final. Which was really devastating. Valencia played a poor back pass and he rounded the keeper and then celebrated with all the Arsenal fans. I don't really care about ex-players celebrating against us, depending on the context. I
didn't lose my rag, but I did moan that he got claps off at Old Trafford. It's like, he has scored against us and celebrated against us for 10 years. Yes, he came through at United.
And he's still a United fan.
Yeah, and if he wants to celebrate against us, that's fine. I'm not going to clap him off if he wants to do that, because I think he has he's distancing himself from being a United player.
Yeah. I
think both of them are fine.
Yeah, if we were winning and he'd scored, like Van Persie... When we played Fenerbahce, we won 4-1. We were 4-0 up, and basically most United fans celebrated when Van Persie scored. That's fine. That part of that was because he didn't get a proper farewell from the club when he left. We never even announced on Twitter that he'd left.
He left very unceremoniously.
So, if we're winning and we can have fun and we're having a good time, and it's that's nice, the ex-player, good to see him, But when we're losing, we're going out of the FA Cup. I don't want us to waste any time clapping off a player who's just scored the winner against us.
Yeah, very annoying.
I do like Danny Welbeck.
I like
Don't get me wrong. I don't think he needs clapping off.
Do you think he'll go to the World Cup? Do you think he should go to the World Cup?
I think he would be a good option for England, but I don't think Thomas Tuchel should be criticised if he doesn't take him.
No, probably not. We've also seen Shea Lacey come on in both their games. Look bright. He had a decent couple of chances against Burnley.
Yeah, he got a lot longer against... Well, he was brought on a lot earlier against Brighton.
Yeah, hit the bar against Burnley with a really good shot that I think a lot of people thought it was in, and then shouldn't have shot the second time.
But it was still a good effort.
It was, yeah. But a little bit of naivety there. Another bit of naivety against Brighton. He was bright when he was there. But he was effective, and a couple of good crosses, a couple of nice bits of skill.
And he gave us a profile that we hadn't had up to that point in the game, because our wingers, so to speak, were Cunha and Mount.
Yeah.
Neither of whom spend any time on the wing.
No.
So it was good to see him sort of taking on fullbacks and getting the ball into the box.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, he got 2 yellow cards.
Yeah, naively.
Yes.
Slightly harsh from the ref. I think a more nuanced, emotional reading of the situation could have been used.
Yeah, but it's not really how referees referee these days.
No.
And there was a similar one with Declan Rice for Arsenal, which was 2 yellows, where Brighton were about to take a free kick and he kicked it away. And you can hear on the ref cam, he says, "I'm sorry, Declan, you've given me a really you put me in a terrible position here. I have to send you off. And I imagine the referee felt something similar with Lacey. He's, angrily bounced the ball on the ground. And in an ideal world, he could say he's a 18, 19-year-old kid.
18-year-old, yeah.
It's his second game for the club. He's lost his head a little bit. He's not headbutted someone. He's just thrown the ball at the ground.
Yeah, he didn't even throw it away.
I'll have a word with him and we'll move on. But these days, it's not the way the game is refereed anymore.
There's no nuance.
He would have been criticised more than he has been if he didn't send him off. He's mainly been criticised by United fans. I've heard the words abhorrent and disgraceful to describe that decision, which is not. It's maybe slightly harsh.
It's the letter of the law, and sometimes we would like the game to be refereed in a more human way, but all of the decisions from the refereeing bodies have been to remove any human element from refereeing in any way.
And they're still struggling to do that with handball, but they're basically doing it with everything else.
So I think you look at it, he bounces the ball away, he's on a yellow card, the referee's got every right to send him off. Yeah. As much as we don't like it.
Not just that he's got every right, according to the laws, that's the right decision. You should send him off. It's that people say the same when a player takes his shirt off or runs into the crowd when he's on a yellow, if he scored a late winner or whatever, and he gets a second yellow. But I don't think the referee should have that level of discernment where, it's okay if it's a last-minute winner.
No.
What if he scores in the 81st minute and runs and takes his shirt off? Then you've got a decision to make. It's a young player. Well, how old do you have to be
to learn not to take your shirt off? But this was a slightly... It is an emotional thing, but there's no... there's some sort of nuance could have been applied, I think.
I think that would be ideal, but I don't think in isolation the referees... He's not got it wrong. I don't think he's made the right decision. It's just a shame that's the right decision in today's game.
Yeah. What I don't like is Diogo Dalot doing doing an interview saying we had some momentum in the game until the red card and then really undid us. I feel like that's unhelpful, and the player was clearly upset that he got sent off.
Yeah. I mean, he could be criticising the ref there, saying the referee killed our momentum.
Yeah, but I just wouldn't.
It's
I just wouldn't bring it up.
Words.
Yeah. Just, I mean, the big thing that killed momentum was that counter attack where Dalot passed the ball straight to the Brighton player. Yeah. That killed quite a lot of momentum.
Yeah,
bit of it's taken from the family playbook there of deflecting. He's related to Amorim.
Oh right,
you don't see that story?
Yeah, I did see that.
Great granddad worked at a circus or something. I think they share a great.
And then Ruben Amorim.
He worked at a bloody circus as well. But yeah, so I think that wasn't the most helpful comment from Dalot.
Yeah,
he's coming for a lot of stick, Dalot, the last couple of games.
Yeah, he was poor yesterday, I have to say.
I think again the sort of United. Why did we sell Wan-Bissaka? We should have sold Dalot. I think selling Wan-Bissaka was a fine decision.
Yeah, we got a decent fee for him.
Yeah, the fact that Dalot isn't very good and isn't in very good form isn't because of Wan-Bissaka.
No.
You can treat the two things separately.
And Wan-Bissaka hasn't shown us anything we didn't know at West Ham.
West Ham fans also think he's a bit limited.
Yeah, they think he's good at defending, which he is, and good at tackling, but he's still the same player we sold,
Yeah, absolutely.
I've not seen anything from him at West Ham to say we should have kept hold of him.
No. Did he? He didn't score against us. He got an assist against us last season, I think.
Did he?
Yeah,
probably.
That does happen, yeah.
Yeah, there's a theme there.
But I think he's not in the bracket of player that I think he's got one or two weaknesses and we need to coach them out of him. I think he is a limited footballer, Dalot. I think his decision making is all
past that point. When we signed him, he was 18, so we could have.
His decision making's always been poor. His technical application on the ball is just not reliable enough. He can't cross reliably. I think with players, a lot of scouts like to talk about USP. What's a player's USP? What do they do better than having an average player in that position would get you?
Yeah.
I don't really think he has one. He's not not even very good at long throws, which he's been trying to do this season. He's okay at them.
Yeah.
But I don't think he has a standout attribute, and I think it's really hard to. I think it's really hard to like a player who doesn't have a standout attribute.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard to, and I don't think he's so bad he has to be dropped and sold. But I also don't think that should be above someone else playing in that position. And if we don't have a great other option at right back until Mazraoui gets back, I would like to see Mazraoui play there instead of him when he was
especially now we're playing a back four. When we were playing wing backs, Mazraoui isn't a wing back. He's too defensive to be that, whereas Dalot does get forward a lot more.
Yeah.
But in a back four, I'm sure Mazraoui can do a better job than we've seen from Dalot.
I would hope to see Mazraoui play there.
Yeah. But he will not be back for a while. Two players who will be back are Ahmad and Mbeumo.
Yeah.
They both lost.
They did.
In the AFCON. Sad for them. It would have been nice for them to win it.
Yeah.
But
Ahmad had a really good tournament.
Yeah, he did.
Three man of the matches.
Yeah. Men of the match?
Man of the matches. It
was
was multiple matches.
Yeah. We definitely missed those two. Like I was saying with the wingers and Trey Lacey coming on.
Yeah.
Ahmad or Mbeumo could have done things like that in the game, but we missed them both. So I'm glad that we'll have them back.
Yeah, I do think that as a sort of a victim of switching to a back four, I think Mount and Cunha looked a little lost as wingers in that system. Yeah. I think less so on the left because you get width from Dorgu, but on the right with Dalot not being reliable and often inverting and coming inside, Mount likes to come inside, play a lot closer to Bruno. You do lose a lot of. You don't have anybody holding the width on that side. So one of those two coming back and even interchanging with Dalot and but having that more, having a slightly wider player on that side would be very helpful.
Yeah. One thing that you didn't mention that Dalot is very good at is getting into good positions to score,
which is almost worse than not. Because he never takes them.
Yeah, we could do with someone else getting those chances who might put them away. Like there was one. This was Ten Hag's last game. Against West Ham away, where Dalot made a great run, a great ball to pick him out, and he went round the keeper and put it over. And we had so many chances around that time where it would be Dalot, and it seemed like it was designed to create chances for someone who can't put them away. And it felt a bit like that yesterday. It was why is Dalot getting all of these chances?
He does make good runs, and players look for him. And I feel like you don't want to transplant that bit of his game into Šeško's body.
Yeah.
And he would be much more reliable. But I think again, it's his decision making in pressure moments that just holds him back. And it's never, maybe if we'd have started dealing with it a while ago when he was a younger player, we could have coached that out of him and turned him into a top fullback. I just think he's too ingrained in him now, where he's just a fundamentally limited player. Yeah. Is this the FA Cup draw?
Yeah, I've just had a notification. It says Chelsea and Arsenal get favourable ties.
Okay.
Does that suggest City haven't got a favourable tie?
Well, City are going to have lower league opposition, and it's going to be at home. That's what always happens. Yeah. Just as United always get away ties in the FA Cup.
For a long time we always got home ties.
Yeah, true.
We had about a run of 17 draws or something that were all at home.
Yeah.
But we won't be getting any cup draws anytime soon. Let's
go on, if they got
React live. City have Salford or Swindon.
Well, there you go.
There's struggle with them.
Yeah, they'll struggle there.
Oh yeah, I wonder if they'll get
double figures again.
Hit 20 goals across the 2 rounds.
Yeah. I didn't watch any of the other FA Cup games this weekend.
I had final score on for a bit, and they were actually showing the goals, which was good. But then that meant they were showing a City game every 9 minutes on average.
Yeah. So. I did watch. I watched the second half of the Crystal Palace Macclesfield game.
That was quite good.
It was a good game. Yeah. Some United adjacent players in there.
Yeah, they had Shea Lacey's brother was playing for him.
Yeah.
And Rooney's brother manages him.
Yeah. Damani Mello and Cameron Bothell-Jackson, both former United. Damani never played, I don't think, but
Bothell-Jackson had a good, yeah. I think, was there another player who was in our under-18s or something? I think I saw on Twitter.
Not Damani Mello?
No, I can't remember who it was. It was definitely, there were 3 players mentioned.
Well, I didn't see that.
But that was nice to see.
Does that mean that is more embarrassing than Grimsby? Because Palace aren't that. Palace are about as good as we are.
But it's always more embarrassing when it's Manchester United.
Yeah,
and some have made the argument it's not the biggest shock. It's not in the same league when the team that loses isn't one of the big boys, even though they're the holders and they've been a Premier League team for the last 12 years.
But Macclesfield are much lower than the teams that usually do these giant killings.
The 6th tier, so giant killing. If a team from League One beats United, that's a giant killing.
Yeah.
So 3 leagues below that is really something.
Is it it's in the conversation for the biggest cup upset of all time.
Yeah, definitely. Statistically, like in terms of the league places, it is. But
Yeah,
I don't think it is.
There's other factors.
Yeah,
but also Macclesfield went bump, and then they're a Phoenix club.
Yeah. So that adds to the magic of the cup,
Yeah, and they went bump like 5 years ago, so it's not like they're a much higher team that's playing at a much lower division than they should be because they went bump.
Yeah, they've got back most of the way that they did.
So they're a good game. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Enough about the FA Cup.
Yeah. Not anymore.
It does look like these reports have sort of bled through over the last couple of days that it's going to be Carrick and not Solskjaer as the interim till the end of the season.
What do you think's motivated that decision? Because I really thought it was going to be Solskjaer. Once his name was mentioned, I thought, well, he's obviously going to say yes. And if you're going to ask him,
presumably because they spoke to both of them, and it seems like since they've interviewed both of them face to face, Carrick has emerged as the front runner. So it must have been something that was said in those. One journalist, I don't know how reliable, I don't know what tier they are, has said that Carrick was under no illusions that this could lead to the first team job. Yeah. And that he saw himself as the interim till the end of the season, and then we move on
with his life.
Whereas Solskjaer would have come in with like he did last time, not wanting to leave again. He wants to come and prove that he's the right man for the full-time job.
Yeah.
But surely United wouldn't do that again. No matter how well, if we did get Solskjaer, no matter how well he did, we wouldn't give him the full permanent job again.
No, but maybe there's something in the belief that, or the expectation that you would be considered.
Yeah. And that
could put you off.
The decisions you make in these 6 months, we don't want anyone making decisions for the long term, I suppose.
No, I've seen it argued both ways, that it's a sign that United aren't as daft as they were last time, because giving Solskjaer the job was the wrong decision, which I don't agree with. I don't think it was the wrong decision.
No, I think he'd done so well. He'd done ridiculously well. And that season we did a lot worse after he got the permanent job.
Yeah.
And we ended up not finishing the Champions League, which it seemed like we could do.
Yeah.
For a lot of the time he was interim. But I think he got the job. Like, people might have said he didn't have the CV, but he proved his credentials by doing so well as interim.
Yeah. And I think it might be because of COVID that a lot of his better periods were a bit more forgettable. But I think some people, I spoke to Dad about it. Some people think it was got the job as the interim and then it never got good again. But we finished second, we finished third in his 2 full seasons. Like, it was good. It worked for a long time. It wasn't like, oh, they've given him the wrong decision. It was an emotional decision that clearly never worked out. It did work for a long time, and the emotional, it did hamper us maybe that season once he had been given the proper job, or it became clear he was going to get the proper job. But to say it never worked after that is sort of revisionist, I think.
Yeah. There were some highs, like finishing in the top 4 2 seasons in a row. Shouldn't be an achievement for United, but
no one else has done
that's the only time that's happened since Fergie retired. And we didn't win a trophy, which was a big thing, but we got quite far in a lot of competitions. We got to semi-finals and...
Yeah, I mean, the big one is the Europa League final. I mean, that game could have gone so differently. We missed Maguire. Maguire was injured for it. He was a really big part of that team. Yeah. And, it was a penalty shootout. That one penalty goes the other way.
Yeah.
And that team is held in much higher regard than... Yeah. It's held right up there with Jose's United team, which I think a lot of people would put above it.
But he didn't get sacked for losing that game. It got a lot worse after that.
Yeah.
He didn't get sacked for not winning a trophy. He got sacked because our form fell off a cliff.
And I don't think sacking him... we're supposed to be talking about the...
we're supposed to be not talking about Solskjaer.
I do think having been sacked is I think you'd struggle to sell that as giving him the permanent job, even if he does well. Having done it before and then having to sack him to basically say, well, we're going to try it again, exactly the same, I think it's a tough sell, I think.
Yeah.
So looks like it's going to be Carrick. I saw another thing that apparently Carrick is more ready to go, and Solskjaer doesn't have a coaching team, doesn't have those contacts built out. Whereas Carrick can get the job tomorrow and 4 other people can start with him. Because he's been a manager more recently and more locally as well.
Yeah. Fletcher might stick around as a coach.
Yeah.
But does that mean he won't be managing the under-18s? Or can you do both?
I don't think you can do both because, well, maybe Evans will coach the under-18s, but then he didn't want to do his last day job, so we'll see.
That supposedly he didn't get on with Amorim, but Amorim,
I don't know how much
he played a lot under Amorim. You know?
Yeah,
more than he probably expected to.
So I think it will. Carrick probably with Fletcher, and then I don't know who is his. Jonathan Woodgate, was he his assistant at Borough?
I don't know.
They might bring him in.
Not done my research there.
But I think it's the right call. I think they can't just do the Ollie playbook again of, let's, blow out the cobwebs, get everyone smiling again, let them have ketchup on their chips, and we'll win 15 games in a row.
Make them wear suits to every game.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of that playbook and a little bit of the, we need the
general interim manager playbook.
Yeah, we need the United mentality back, and Carrick can bring that, but I do think there are genuine tactical problems that need a manager to address, and we have to get better at defending. We have to. I don't think anyone's looked at the game against Brighton and said, "Oh well, if we'd have kept 3 at the back, we would have been much more solid," because we've not been solid for 3.5 seasons.
Yeah,
maybe longer.
Were we solid in Ten Hag's first season?
Yeah, probably. We had a bit more control of games.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, the last 2 seasons, any team has been able to score multiple goals against us. That shouldn't be. Should needs addressing.
Yeah.
And I think, less of a vibes-based approach and more of a problem-solving approach is needed.
Yeah, he did do a good job at Villa. Obviously, Borough, he got sacked.
Yeah.
But I think he's quite still thought of well by the Borough fans that he did a good job, and they've gone on to do slightly better since he left. He was sacked because they weren't getting promoted, and now they look like they might well get promoted, but you could argue that's the sort of foundations he built in the team that's been carried on by the next manager. He got into a bit of a rut, I think, towards the end that was hard to get out of, which is why he got sacked. But
he lost a lot of attacking players as well during that run. He had, obviously having Morgan Rogers in the Championship, it might explain why they were good, but also losing Morgan Rogers is a difficult thing to recover from.
And Chuba Akpom scored more goals under Carrick than he'd scored basically in his whole career before that.
Yeah.
He got a move to Ajax, which is quite impressive.
So, I think he's not. I don't think he's going to pull up any trees and be, but he might get himself in contention for another top Championship job by having a decent 17 games or something.
I think he was already sort of thought of by Championship clubs quite a bit. Like he was one of the names on Wolves' list when they sacked the manager, and they were obviously looking for a Championship manager. So, I don't think he would have had a shortage of offers, but I think it would be good for him, for his CV as well.
Yeah,
and it's do a decent job at United for half a season.
It's basically a free hit for him as well. I don't think he's going to harm his reputation as a Championship manager if it goes. I mean, unless it goes really badly. But I don't think anyone's anticipating it was getting considerably worse. We might stay the same. Yeah, I don't really see us getting considerably worse because I just don't think there's any evidence of coaching in the team to remove. There's nothing to undo. I saw we can move on from Amorim generally, but I saw a good tweet that was saying, Ollie fans and Ollie truthers can look back and say, he was the only manager to get 2 top 4 finishes, went on that amazing unbeaten run away from home. Everyone loved watching United for a good long time. Jose can say, well, he won the Europa League,
won the League Cup,
got a second in the league. Louis fans can say, he won the FA Cup, brought through a load of good youth players. What have Amorim fans got?
Yeah,
they could say, we need that. We're not going to have that anymore. What? We're not going to have. I mean, he was quite good in press conferences, I guess.
He did. I didn't always like the things that he said, but
he was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
but when he's talking about how honest,
very honest
about how bad we are.
Yeah.
They've got very little to hang a 14-month spell on there.
Yeah. I know all those managers had longer than Amorim, but didn't look like we were going the way of any of those.
And all of them got sacked as well.
Yeah.
There's not there hasn't been a successful
he's doing worse
manager.
than all of them. He's But we should at some point. I wonder when our last mention of Amorim will be. It's probably he'll always be relevant this season.
Yes,
Amorim's time, given that was half the season, that will always be relevant.
But he had such a short run. I think he will. We don't talk about Moyes that much anymore because it was sort of just a blip between
thing that
happened after Fergie, sort of in the epilogue of Fergie.
Yeah.
Rather than a manager who had their own tenure in their own right.
Yeah.
I think Amorim will probably fall into the sort of the wilderness era.
Yeah. What happened there?
Yeah. The ownership has come into a bit of criticism, and rightly so. People are talking about, does anyone at the club know what they're doing? Do you think it's a case of they just picked the wrong guy, or do you think there are deeper problems that are unfixable? Do you think?
I don't think you can say that at this point that it's unfixable and they're incapable of doing a good job.
Yeah.
They obviously got the wrong guy, and that was Barada, who was pushing for Amorim. Wilcox has come under a lot of criticism, more so than Barada, I think. It seems to be Wilcox and Jim Ratcliffe that have had the brunt of the criticism, but I think it remains to be seen.
Yeah.
A lot of them are doing this job, the specific role that they're doing at United for the first time.
Yeah.
Barada's not been CEO before. He's got a promotion from his role at City when he's come to United, and Wilcox hasn't worked for a club in such a senior role. He hasn't worked for a club nearly the size of United.
Yeah.
So they are sort of learning on the job, which isn't ideal, but I hope they can learn from this Amorim thing.
Yeah.
When it's one of them, at the time, it seemed like this is the guy to go for. He's on City's radar. Liverpool have considered him. He's doing such a good job at Sporting. If we don't get him, someone else will, and it'll be, why didn't we get him?
Yeah.
And now, in hindsight, you say he wanted to play three at the back, didn't want to come mid-season, and obviously we've got the hindsight of he did a really bad job at United.
It never worked as well, any of it.
And they should be better than us. Obviously, we're fans. We got swept up in it, and Amorim hype. I certainly did. I was very excited for it. They should be able to see better than us because they're paid a lot of money to do this job. But I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt on that one and say, you got that one wrong. You got to get the next one right.
Yes, yeah. I think I'm hoping that rather than it being them not being capable, I think probably the power dynamics were probably in flux, or Ashworth didn't want him. Jim Ratcliffe really did want him and sat down with him and was really impressed by him. Probably because Jim Ratcliffe is, sees himself as that straight-talking businessman. And a bloke who can sit in front of him and is straight-talking, and he, Amorim really impressed himself on him.
Yeah, Ratcliffe said Amorim would tell him he was wrong.
And
he appreciated that in him.
Yeah.
He saw he wasn't afraid to tell Jim Ratcliffe what he thought.
And then there was talk that Wilcox wasn't on board because of certain tactical issues, and
he got on
board. And I don't know if that's just PR from Wilcox and Wilcox trying to play the media a bit to soften the criticism on him. But I would hope that going forward they can have better dividing lines of this has to be a Wilcox decision. Wilcox is employed specifically for that, and everyone else has to like him.
Yeah.
Everyone else has to
get
on board, or sign off on it. But it should fall to Wilcox if he is the guy.
Yeah.
And maybe he's not the guy, but he's in that role. If he's in that role, he should have the power to do that and work with him and work with the other footballing people at the club. His job is to link all that together. You shouldn't have decisions being put on him. He should be able to make that decision. And it looks like Carrick was his man. Carrick, the noise is that he's happy with Carrick and he wanted Carrick, and hopefully that's true. And you need we've complained for so many years about having a banker making these decisions.
Yeah.
To then to get a football director, the first one at United, or an early one at United. We've not had one for very long, and then to push decisions on them.
Yeah,
seems is also
say, no, this is the guy we're getting, whether you like it or not.
That's not really, that's not really moving the goal. That's not really addressing that problem.
Yeah.
Having football people and empowering them to make football decisions is what good clubs do.
Yeah.
And hopefully we've learned from that. That's the big thing, the big learning point I think they need to take.
Yeah. And you look at the Ashworth thing, it's very easy to say, and it's correct to say, he didn't want Amorim, we sacked him, and now we don't want Amorim, and maybe one of the people he suggested. But he could have been wrong about that as well. And they maybe should have figured this out before they appointed him and paid a lot of money to get him. But if they're not getting on, if him and Barada and Wilcox don't all see eye to eye, then that's not going to work.
No.
So that's why he had to go, because they couldn't work as a team. They didn't have the same ideas and the same plans for United. So that's not going to work going forward. They probably should have, maybe found that out before they got him.
I think the timing of it just none of it lined up. I think they didn't have the people in place for the summer, which they wanted because of gardening leave and things like that. It didn't line up then. So they didn't have Barada in place when they were trying to pick a new manager. Yeah. So they thought, we'll put that on ice. Ten Hag, lots of fans wanted to keep him. Yeah. We can keep him. I think
won the FA Cup.
Won the FA Cup. We weren't that bad.
And we weren't overly impressed by any of the people we interviewed.
But then they probably had to sack him. They then have to sign a manager. Yeah. They can't. It's way too early in the season to give it to Carrick that time.
Yeah.
So they have to find a manager. They find the one that they like the most, and who is willing to come. It was reluctant to come, but they could get at that time.
Yeah.
That happened to not be the right manager. But I don't think there's... Obviously, again, in hindsight, these are all incorrect decisions, and they should have moved heaven and earth to do things differently now that we've had 14 months down the line. But I think in isolation, none of them are obviously decisions. There's no obvious path that they should have taken differently.
Yeah.
Like they should have sacked Ten Hag at the start of that season, but they couldn't find a manager they like to do the job.
Yeah.
So do you sack them? We've seen this week people saying they've sacked Amorim, but they should have had someone ready to go. But so if you sack a manager and then you think, right, well, now we've got to find someone, and then you look at what happened to Bayern Munich, where they tried 8 different managers before they got the one. They got someone that wanted the job. So I think it's a bad look because it's 3 or 4 big decisions in a row that have turned out to be wrong. The mitigation is that individually at the time, I don't think any of them had obviously better options.
Yeah. And they had a lot to sort out when they came in to bring in a whole new structure. There are going to be teething issues, and I hope that this structure we've got in place now, it seems like Christopher Vivell is going to take more of a role with appointing the manager. He's the head of recruitment.
Yeah, I think that's another, what do you do when you're made the director of football at Manchester United and you have only worked at Southampton and City? You think, well, I'll bring someone in who's an international football transport expert who has worked at the Red Bull Group, which is the football sort of transfer institution that beats the market every season. That's a good decision, and I think if they can sort out the power structure and the reporting structure, if they hopefully they have sorted it out by now, then we can start to trust them to think, okay, well, maybe they will get it right. But they have to start getting it right. Yeah. And I think Carrick, till the end of the season, that's not really here or there. We'll see how well he does. If he does quite badly, it doesn't mean we shouldn't have appointed him, because who can we definitely say is a better person to do the job? And it certainly doesn't mean we shouldn't have sacked Amorim. No.
It's the permanent job that's the big decision that they have to get right.
Yeah.
And it's not just them, but I don't really have much confidence that they will get it right because of that sort of lurking feeling in the back of all United fans' minds that what if we just can't get it right? We're just incapable. Whoever is in charge, we'll get a whole new regime in, and they'll get it wrong every time as well, because that's just the state of United.
Yeah, I think we'll probably do this, maybe a special on it when we've not got a game for a month. But the state of the managerial market, I think, is quite an interesting thing. Yeah. I think it's a bit of a mess at the moment. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 really good managers in the world.
Yeah,
I think,
and they've all got jobs.
One of them hasn't anymore, but I think...
Who haven't?
No, I think Xabi Alonso is actually a very good manager. I think he's at massively the wrong club. He was at massively the wrong club. I think Luis Enrique is a really good manager. I think Arteta and Pep are really good managers.
I don't think you can put Arteta in that same bracket yet.
Well, I don't think you can say he's proven as a really good manager. Yeah. I think he's a really good manager.
Okay.
Other than, so maybe he's on the fence. That means that's 3.
Yeah.
I think Xabi Alonso's got some question marks.
Yeah, definitely.
He's just lost this job at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So that's probably 2 who are, I'm confident in saying, are really good managers.
Yeah.
I think everyone else, there's lots of very good coaches, but I don't know. I don't think there's that many really good managers. Yeah. Maybe Tuchel. Maybe I'd put Tuchel in that.
Carlo Ancelotti.
Yeah, he's got question marks as well. He didn't leave. I think he's a very much an old style delegator manager.
Yeah.
Which we yet to see if that can work at United.
Yeah.
Anymore.
Yeah, we should at some point before we know too much about who United are going to appoint. We should have a spare episode about that. We should probably look ahead with great anticipation to the game on Saturday.
Yeah.
The derby's coming.
Big one.
I pray to God another annihilation isn't coming, another 6-1.
Well, they're not. They're going it to Carrick till the end of the season.
Yeah. It's not. I'm not feeling good about it.
No,
Carrick, it seems, will be in charge for the derby.
You'd be mental if you were confident.
Yeah.
City scored 10. I know it was Exeter City, but they scored 10 goals. Not teams play rubbish teams all the time. They don't often score 10 goals.
And we've just failed to beat Wolves, Leeds, Burnley, and then lost to Brighton.
West Ham.
Yeah.
We've not got a good result for a long time.
No.
So
and we didn't do great against City away in September. Lost 3-0. So
I'd like to score. If we could score, that would be good. If we could take the lead, that would be really good.
Yeah. If we could score more goals than them in the game,
don't be greedy.
Nice, but that's, beggars can't be choosers. It'd be nice to be in the game and to feel like we can win the game for some of the game. Yeah,
and it's absolutely a take whatever you can get. If it's backs to the wall, they hit the post 14 times and we nick one at the end, then you are, I'm running around the streets.
Yeah, I'm not. I would never be at the point where I would take, a 1-0 loss.
But I'm basically always at the point where I'd take a draw.
Yeah. I'm willing to go on record and say I don't think it will be
a drubbing.
Absolute humiliation. I don't think it'll be 10-1.
Okay, well, that's bold.
I don't think it'll
be. It actually is quite bold.
4 or more goals, I'll say. Which shouldn't be too bold of a prediction, given that we're only, a couple of places below them in the league. But I think we will be competitive to a degree, but that's all I can say I'm confident of.
Yeah. You'd hope that...
Well, we've basically been competitive to a degree in all of our matches this season. City away is the one we haven't been, really.
Yeah.
But there were times where we looked all right in that game.
Yeah. I think all of our games, like you say, too many of our games we're about as good as the opponent.
Yeah.
But
that's includes... a good thing against Arsenal and Liverpool.
And it's we'll win some of those and we'll lose some of those. There should be far more games where we're about as good as opponent. But I would absolutely settle for being about as good as our opponent next weekend.
So, we'll see. It's an early kickoff. You're going
Sunday, is it? Saturday.
12:30.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I'm not sure. I don't think I'll be there. But
no.
I hope you enjoy.
Well, we'll see.
I'm sad that I'm not there and not the second the game finishes. Well, thank God I don't have to come home from the match now.
What was the last derby win you were at?
Last derby win I was at. The derby last season at home was an awful game. It was 0-0.
I can't remember who was at that.
We were all at that.
Oh, yeah.
It was. So what was Ten Hag's...
Because Amorim did the away derby.
Amorim did the away derby last season. Amorim did
both
derbies last season.
Yeah.
Season before, so Ten Hag's second season. We lost the derby at home. I wasn't there. They got a soft penalty for Højlund pulling back Rodri, which is never given as a penalty.
Yeah.
The season before, Ten Hag's first season, we won 2-1.
Yes.
I think me and you were at that. Jack Grealish scored for them, and then
the really controversial Rashford goal.
That wasn't certainly the wrong decision. It was an arguable decision. City fans seem to think that was a terrible decision from the referee. He was obviously offside, but it can be argued that was the correct decision.
Yeah,
probably would have been a better decision to give it as offside, but it wasn't necessarily wrong.
It's very diplomatic of you.
I have to say that. That's what Howard Webb basically said.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily a wrong decision, so I would choose to make the case that it wasn't offside.
I'll take that.
It's a perfectly legitimate goal, and then Rashford scored the winner.
Yeah.
We beat all of the big six at home that season.
Nice. Well, it's a long memory.
Yeah.
Long memory is not a thing.
That's a long memory.
I mean, it is, because it's 6 whole games. It's a whole season of football. So
that's
a big old memory.
Yeah. But, yeah, I'm not confident for this one.
No. But like you say, you'd be mental if you were.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. We'll see. I think Carrick will probably be in tomorrow.
Yeah.
They don't really want to let it get to Wednesday.
No.
But those are probably, if they know it's him, I don't imagine Fletcher training on Wednesday or Carrick training on Wednesday would be materially that different.
Yeah.
So it's not the end of the world. But hopefully he's in and he can start to just even if we defend reasonably well against City, that would be an improvement on most of the games we play.
It would. The thing is, as fixtures to start your tenure on, we've got City and then Arsenal away, so we could easily, concede 8 goals in those 2 games and not score one.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a new manager coming in. There's always some positive feeling that could be gone again, just like it was with Fletcher. They were 2 not very difficult games and we didn't win either of them. These are 2 hard games. We could get battered in both of them.
Yeah.
And then it will feel very bleak, I think.
Yeah.
If we then get battered by Arsenal and we've only got league games for the second half of the season, we could be 10th in the league,
Yeah. But if he wins both of
them, the feeling will be very good.
Yeah.
Title charge.
Put the contract on the table at that point.
Right, whatever numbers he wants on it.
We'll see. I think it might not be the most exciting time to be a United fan, but it's certainly an interesting time to be a United fan.
Yes.
There's lots to talk about, as we have proven once again with another
bumper
episode.
Another stellar episode from us, I would say.
Deluded as we may be.
Yes. Yeah. But thanks for commenting. I doubt you've come and watched the whole episode from that.
Just to see how deluded we really are.
Yeah. But if you have, welcome. You're welcome to stay. Just maybe comment something a bit nicer next time. Any of you watching, if you want to go over and like our TikToks, then feel free. Please do. There'll be more where that came from.
Yeah.
And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll be back every week.
Yeah.
Within reason.
Not every week.
Every week. And I'll bring enough spliff puff for everyone. Anyway, thanks for listening. And we'll see you around. We'll see you out there.